Hi, my name is Kurt Hackbarth, and I'm a member of Grassroots for Bernie, and decided to make this short video to inform everyone about the situation with the Puerto Rico Democratic primary coming up this Sunday. I'm making this video because there's been hardly any news about it in the English language media, and the situation there is really critical. So let's go back and let me tell you what's going on and how this got started. On May 5th, the head of the Puerto Rico Democratic Party, his name was Roberto Prats, announced that there were going to be 1,510 polling places for the Puerto Rico Democratic primary. He said that they were holding the Democratic primary on the same day as the local primaries in Puerto Rico, specifically as a cost-effective measure, so that they could both use the same polling places on the same day and get a cost savings, which sounded great. However, just last Friday, Prats announced that no, there weren't going to be 1,510 polling places. There were only going to be 455, and that number has since been reduced to 432. Now, what he said when he made this new announcement was that the poll workers were all being used for the local primaries, so there weren't enough left for the Democratic primary. So then one wonders why they scheduled the two primaries for the same day in the first place. That's one big question out there. The number of polling places has since been reduced to 432. This is only 432 polling places when Prats himself said that they're expecting up to 700,000 people to participate in the Democratic primary this Sunday. Now, they've admitted that with only 432 polling places, there's no way that 700,000 people are going to be able to vote. As a matter of fact, they've estimated now that only 300,000 people are going to be able to vote, which means that up to 400,000 Puerto Rican voters are not going to be able to participate in the Democratic primary. So this is a voter suppression that is in the making, that's worse than Arizona, that's worse than Rhode Island, it's worse than anything we've seen so far in the 2016 primary process. Now, to make all of this worse, the voting hours are only from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's only 7 hours. There's much less in the way of public transportation on Sunday. Of course, people go to church as well. What makes it even more difficult is that people are going to have to vote in their local primaries at one polling place and then go to another polling place to vote in the Democratic primary. And they're going to have to get all that done and navigate the lines before 3 o'clock. In the local primaries, they're using electronic voting machines for the first time, so there's going to be long lines there. So they're going to have to navigate the lines for that and then figure out how to get to the other polling place within their precinct for the Democratic primary. So this is a really big problem. Now, another problem to add on top of that is that the local Democratic Party is refusing, up till now, this is Friday evening, to release the certifications for the Sanders poll representatives to work on the polls on Sunday. Now, this is very important because there needs to be representatives from each of the candidacies, the Clinton candidacy and the Sanders candidacy, at each polling place, because the ballots are counted by hand right there on the spot, and there needs to be representatives from each party there on hand to make sure that that count is carried out correctly and accurately. Now on Friday evening, those certifications have not been released. And without the certifications, these poll representatives cannot work there on Sunday. So we're a day away from the Puerto Rico primary without certifications. Now, early voting, there's not early voting in Puerto Rico, but there is early voting in the prisons. They allow, which is good, they allow imprisoned people who are prisoners to vote ahead of time in the primary. So that's already taken place, and they didn't even want to let the Sanders representatives in to the prisons to observe what was going on. they had to get a lawyer and they had to put pressure on to be allowed to get someone in there to verify what was going on. Now, Kenneth McClintock, who's another one of the Democratic Party bigwigs in Puerto Rico, tweeted out today in his Twitter, you're welcome to go and look, it's in Spanish, and he said, Clinton is ahead in the early voting in Puerto Rico. Now, one wonders how he knows that, considering that the votes go into a sealed box and are not supposed to be counted until the polls close on Sunday. So, to summarize, to get this all summed up, we're looking at a voter disenfranchisement of up to 400,000 people in Puerto Rico on Sunday. People are going to have to go to 2 different sets of polling places in order to vote. They're only going to have 7 hours to do so on a day where there's much less public transportation. The Democratic Party has put out about 5 different lists of polling places over the course of this week. It keeps changing. So it makes it very difficult for people to find out where their polling place is. There are no certifications as of yet for poll workers. And going on what we've seen in the early voting process in the prisons, it makes it very difficult to believe that the process is going to be held fairly going forward. So what we'd like to do is to put out a call to the Puerto Rico Democratic Party to release those certifications. If we're going to have only 432 polling places, and let us recall, in the last contested primary in Puerto Rico, which was 2008, between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, there were 2,306 polling places. 2,306 in 2008, compared to 432 this time. And lest anyone were to believe that this is a money issue due to the financial crisis in Puerto Rico, which of course is real and very serious, at no time has the Democratic Party used money as a pretext here. They've used lack of poll workers as a pretext, and poll workers are volunteers. They're not paid in Puerto Rico. And so that brings us back to our original question of why they decided to put the Democratic primary, which was originally supposed to be a caucus, then they changed it to a primary, on the same day as the local primaries in the first place. So let's go forward. Let's make sure that everybody gets their certifications. Let's make sure that those 432 polling places are open. And let's try to make the best of what is a very, very bad situation that is shaping up to be the most serious example of voter suppression so far in the 2016 Democratic primaries. And this is something that the American press has practically ignored. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll be giving updates as this process goes forward. Thank you.